All right, we're about to dive deep into a story that's been building for 40 years. We're going back in time to the edge of the desert, where an entire nation is on the brink of a new beginning. Today, we're not just going to read Deuteronomy chapter 2, we are going to walk through it, verse by verse, and turn this ancient story into something you can see, something you can feel, something you won't forget. Let's get started.
So get this. For 40 long years, an entire generation has been wandering in the wilderness. It was their punishment for disbelief. Now, every single one of them is gone. But standing in their place is a new generation, tough and ready, looking out at the horizon. Their epic journey into the Promised Land is just about to kick off.
So our story picks up at this exact moment. The long wait is over. But their first steps forward aren't into some epic battle. No, they're into a series of tests. Tests of patience, of restraint, and of pure obedience.
Okay, verse 1 sets the scene perfectly. Just picture this massive caravan. We're talking hundreds of thousands of people, and they're just walking in this huge, dusty circle around a single mountain. For days and days, the view never, ever changes. It's the very definition of being stuck. Then in verses 2 and 3, everything changes. A voice, booming from the heavens, just shatters the silence. You have skirted this mountain long enough, turn northward. Imagine everyone just freezing in their tracks. The endless loop is finally broken. A new direction has been given.
Now for their very first test. In verse 4, they're told they're about to pass by the land of their relatives, the descendants of Esau. Picture Israelite scouts peering over a ridge, and they see the towns of their cousins, the Edomites, who are nervously watching this massive nation get closer and closer. Then, verse 5, the command comes down. And it's not attack. It's the complete opposite. It's like a divine invisible hand draws a line in the sand and God says, "Do not meddle with them. I will not give you so much as a foot of their land." Their first test isn't strength, it's restraint.
So, what are they supposed to do for supplies? Well, verse 6 spells it out. Picture a pop-up marketplace right there on the border. Israelites are trading silver coins for sacks of grain and skins of water. It's totally peaceful, just a straightforward business deal. But why? Verse 7 gives us this incredible backstory. Imagine a quick flashback montage of the last 40 years. Glowing manna falling from the sky, water gushing out of a rock, their clothes and their sandals somehow never wearing out. God reminds them, you have lacked nothing. See, they aren't a band of desperate beggars. They're a nation that has been provided for, and they are to pay their own way. And verse 8 shows us it worked. You can just see this massive Israelite caravan marching respectfully right past the Edomite border. It's tense, for sure, but it's peaceful. They followed the rules. But the tests are not over. Verse 9. Right as they pass one relative, they come up on another, the Moabites. And again, picture that divine hand drawing another line in the sand, this time around Moab's territory. The command is exactly the same. Do not harass them. I will not give you any of their land. More patience, more obedience.
Verse 13, this is a huge moment. After all this waiting and walking around, the command finally comes, rise and cross. Picture the entire nation marching down into this deep, shadowy valley, the Zered, and then up the other side into the sunlight. Now, this isn't just about crossing a little stream. This is a powerful symbol. They are literally stepping out of their 40 years of punishment and into their future. This is the point of no return.
And then verse 14 hits us with this number that just stops you in your tracks. 38 years. That's not a random figure. It is the precise amount of time it took for every single warrior from that first rebellious generation to pass away. So the crossing of the Zered, it wasn't just a geographical marker. It was a demographic one. A generation had officially ended.
And verse 15 gives us the really somber reality behind those 38 years. This wasn't just about people getting old. No, you have to imagine this slow, solemn, almost constant procession of funerals, winding through the camp for decades. It was the fulfillment of God's oath. The scripture says, the hand of the Lord was against them. Before the new could begin, the old generation of disobedience had to be completely, utterly gone. Okay, so the story takes a little pause here, and it gives us some fascinating historical footnotes. It's like world building. It shows us that God's plan is way bigger than just Israel. He's been moving nations around like pieces on a chessboard for a long time, often displacing these legendary, really formidable peoples. This is just incredible stuff. Verses 10 and 11 talk about the Emim, giants so terrifying they were nicknamed the Terrors, and they were displaced by Moab.
Verse 12 mentions the Horites, who were pushed out by Esau's family. Verses 20 and 21, the Zamzummim, another clan of giants, displaced by the Ammonites. And verse 23, the Avim. Now the point of this whole history lesson is crucial. God has a long track record of defeating powerful peoples to give land to his chosen nations. So what's about to happen with Israel isn't some random event. It's the main event in a story that's been unfolding for generations.
All right, back to the main story. Verse 16 gives us this moment of total finality. Just picture the last of the old rebellious warriors being buried. The book is officially closed on that generation. And immediately, in verses 17 through 19, God gives the new generation fresh instructions. They're about to pass by the land of Ammon, another relative. And what's the command? You guessed it, the same as before. Do not harass them. It's one last test of obedience before everything is about to change.
And here we go. This is the moment. This is what the entire story has been building towards. The passive wandering is over. The time of avoiding conflict is done. The wait is finally, officially over.
Verse 24. Man, these are the words this new generation has waited their entire lives to hear. Imagine them just echoing through the camp. Rise, cross over. I have given into your hand. Begin to possess it and engage him in battle. This is the green light. The conquest starts now.
And with that green light comes a divine promise. Verse 25. Picture ripples of energy, of sheer power, spreading out from the Israelite camp across a map of the ancient world. God says he will personally put the dread and fear of Israel into the hearts of all the surrounding nations. From this moment on, when people hear reports about Israel, they will tremble.
So the target is set. Sihon, the Amorite king. This is going to be the very first battle for this new generation. It's the first domino, and you know how it falls is going to set the tone for everything that comes next. But check out how it begins in verses 26 through 29. It doesn't start with an attack. It starts with diplomacy. Picture Israelite messengers standing before this powerful king Sihon on his throne, and they bring words of peace, making a totally reasonable request. Just let us pass through on the main road. We'll even buy our own food and water. It's an offer of peace before war is even on the table. Verse 30 is the fateful turning point. Sihon says no, but the text tells us there's a deeper reason. The Lord your God hardened his spirit. Imagine King Sihon's face just turning from curiosity to this stubborn, irrational glare. His heart becomes like stone. God actually uses Sihon's own pride to make sure the battle happens, setting him up for his own destruction. And now the action just explodes. Verse 31, God gives Moses the final go-ahead. Then, verses 32 and 33, you can just see King Sihon's army, all confident and proud, marching out from behind their city walls to crush this nation of wanderers. But they're met by the Israelites, who are now fueled by God's direct command. The battle is swift, and the result is total. Sihon is delivered right into their hands.
And verses 34 through 36 give us the anatomy of this total victory. 1. Every single city was taken. 2. The population was utterly devoted to destruction, just as God had commanded. 3. Only the livestock and the valuables were kept as plunder. And 4. Their dominion was absolute. From the river right up to the mountains, not a single city was too strong for them. The victory was total.
But the chapter ends on this incredibly important final detail in verse 37. After this overwhelming, momentum-building victory, what do? Visualize the victorious Israelite army marching right up to the border of the Ammonites and stopping cold. They halt their entire conquest perfectly at that forbidden line God had drawn earlier. This shows their victory wasn't just about military might, it was about precise, unwavering obedience. And that just leaves us with this fascinating final thought. This whole chapter is a story of divine timing, patience, and power. But maybe the greatest display of strength wasn't in crushing King Sihon's army. Maybe it was in having all that power and momentum, and yet having the discipline to stop exactly where God commanded. It really makes you wonder, what is the truer test of strength? The power to take whatever you want, or the self-control to stay within the boundaries you've been given?